Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town. Far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound. A big sound. In a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound, Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Hi, welcome to Season 4 of Big Sound, Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton. Join me as musicians tell their stories about how they became musicians and the stories along the way. We're rolling, so anything we say now
can be used against us.
Well, yes, yes, and you know, I will tell you just how it works here. Nothing scripted. I think.
Well, good. I can't read a script anyway.
Well, nobody's ever. You know, I've never talked about this on air, so this is a good time. I'll make this up as we go. Mm-hmm. I do a little bit of research on, I do a pretty good bit of research on people that come.
Well, I'd like to apologize for anything you found out about me.
Well, no, it's all good. It's all good. And you know, we're going to talk about you, and we might talk about art. We might talk about you. We might say a lot of bad things about you, but you know, we'll. It's just a conversation.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. How's your levels on your microphones there?
They're looking real good. I'll put a headphone on just to see.
Right.
If I wear headphones, it's just impersonal.
It ain't gonna bother me a bit. I've seen one or two of those before.
No, we're good.
All right.
I've done this a lot. I think you're like, I don't know. I've done a lot of these. So, you want to play first, or you want to?
Oh no, let's talk.
Let's talk.
I'm not allowed to play and talk.
You can play it and talk at the same time.
I am playing this beautiful guitar.
It is beautiful.
This is a gift from my wife. I was going to bring Old Faithful, and I figured it's, I say radio, but this ain't radio.
It's as close as radio is these days.
It's just so easy to say radio.
It is radio, really.
Podcast. Yeah. It's not a vocabulary word of mine. It's not something that I say. I know it's people relate to that terminology nowadays, but to me it's radio. I've always been told that I have the looks for radio.
Yes, I got the looks for podcasts. So that's why I do that.
So Old Faithful is an acoustic guitar that I've absolutely played into the ground, and I can't let go of it. I am a hoarder. I'm a keeper of tchotchkes. That's a Russian word for little things that mean something to you. It can be a rock out of the yard or a twig off a tree, but I keep things to the extreme of being ridiculous. And I've kept this Fender guitar that I play for almost 40 years now, and it's played out. And I sat at my kitchen table 3 or 4 months ago and about cried over it because I wore the frets into the fretboard, and I refretted it myself.
Oh, really?
It didn't work great. I'd like to just apologize to any real luthiers out there who make their living doing that. Folks, you should still see a qualified luthier. I am not condoning refretting your own guitar. Although I did do it, and the guitar plays, it is not a beautiful thing. Luthiers are fantastic.
They are fantastic.
So I got the guitar playable again, and I just love the way it sounds. And I'm going to go ahead and admit it. In order to make it work, because I am not a luthier, I had to use Bondo on the neck of that, and it's still pink. I didn't even paint it or stain it. It's got big pink streaks of Bondo on it, and it actually plays. My wife recognizes the fact I've been doing this longer than she's been alive. I have a younger, very beautiful wife, quite a blessing, and so she went out and purchased this absolutely gorgeous Taylor guitar.
It is beautiful.
And it's just not my guitar. I play it, but it seems like her guitar to me.
Let's get a picture of that while we're at it. Although this is a podcast, we use pictures.
And so I figured I'd bring it. The Old Faithful there, I played it this past weekend. The strings are pretty dead on it. Strings last me one show. That's it. And I guess I sweat battery acid. You notice I don't wear a watch.
Right. I don't
and
wear
strings just don't. They don't last. And people will tell me, well, I'll use these. We won't use any brand names. I don't want to offend anybody. But people say, I'll use these strings. They're $20, but they last for 3 months. If it's $20 or $1, the strings are dead after one show. It doesn't matter what. So might as well buy a $1 pack of strings.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
From
no
whatever.
old black diamonds.
There you go. I used to love black diamonds. They even make them anymore.
I don't know if they even make them anymore. I used to wear my fingertips out on those things when I was a kid.
I spent a lot of my little take on pay on black diamond
Yeah,
strings.
I didn't have a whole lot of other choice at that time either. That's what I could get, you know.
So I was looking forward to coming down and talking to you and doing this. And then I didn't know the format very well. Still don't know exactly what you talk about. I assume it's music is why I'm here. Certainly I don't do anything else that's worthy of talking about. But so I went to studying some of the music that I've written. And it is not a wonderful thing to say, but I don't know my own music very well. I have spent most of my adult life trying to make a living in the music industry.
Yeah.
And people who go about their day-to-day life, in my opinion, don't really know what that means.
Oh, they have no idea. I mean, they do not have any idea.
It is nothing to do with the stars you see on the radio or hear on the radio or see on TV or computer or anything. People who actually make a living in the music business either sell things in music stores or performers. Most of them play pubs
They do.
Used to be a lot of freestanding big clubs, and you got to pretend like you were somebody you weren't, and go around with your big hairdo and a scarf around your neck and act like you were Led Zeppelin.
Sure.
But it doesn't work that way that much anymore.
No,
And
it's changed.
Yeah, it has. So I don't know. I got when you do this, you have to play what they'll pay you to play.
True.
And when you weren't born with a silver spoon, it's difficult to make a living in the music
It
business.
is.
Is
I
what I'm
agree
trying to say.
totally. Yes, it is.
So I end up playing Brown Eyed Girl a whole lot, and I've been doing so for 35, 40 years, and Pride and Joy, and sitting on the dock of the bay. And I know those songs really well. Right. I can sit here and play all of them.
Yeah.
So when I said, well, somebody's going to talk to me about my songs, I can't play but a few of them. I can't even play a few of them. So I'm sitting there trying to learn my own tunes. It was a little disheartening. But so if I play half a song for you that I wrote, don't be surprised as to why I don't know the rest of them. I don't get to play them very often.
I mean, I'm the same way. I would tell you more than anything, I'm a songwriter. And I play in a band now, Cleveco, who we try our best to do as much original stuff as we can, but we like to work too.
Yeah, and when you say as much original stuff, sometimes it's not even a whole song. You know, I mean, it all depends on where you're there, and you know, but very often you are a chicken wing salesman.
Yeah, you are a beer salesman.
Beer salesman, and it doesn't have a whole lot to do with your tunes.
Sure.
Now, one thing I've been blessed to be able to do is kind of, and this comes from either laziness or a bad memory. I don't play the songs, the cover songs, the same way as anybody else plays them. I just play them the best way they come out, and it ends up sounding a bit original. I do, you know, on those kind of tunes. As a matter of fact, some of the cover tunes I do are not even identifiable. If you know, it depends.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes mashups.
Yeah, I do a bunch of that.
Yeah.
You know, I do you know.
Yeah.
And I'll do now people listening don't realize that it's like 11 o'clock. And,
Yeah, they don't.
You go, when the night is come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you see. So we know the chorus is, and darling, darling, stay by me. Oh, stand by me. and out of boredom, I'll go, every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. And of course, you get everybody's attention, you know, because they're like, I thought he was singing Stand By Me.
Wait, what happened in that song? Yeah.
And really, that's, it's a bit sad to say, but that's really the whole thing, is just trying to get people's attention.
It is.
And keep them, I guess, into the music enough to stay and have another chicken wing.
Right, and listen a little bit.
That's your job.
Because so many times you play, how many times have you played, no, you kill something, get through, and you get...
Yeah, you got to get over that part.
You know?
If you're playing, you know, for that, and you're doing this job,
Right.
the bar and restaurant job, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, you are.
You just got
to move on.
Got to move on.
I mean, it's one of those things that also, you know, they're going to talk over your song. Sometimes I've made up words to songs, not really nice words that I can say on this podcast, just to see if anyone caught it.
Yeah, I got a reputation for
And
that.
they don't.
No. In contrast to what we're talking about this, and so we don't sound too down in the mouth about it. When you do get the privilege of playing a job where they're really there to see
Oh,
you,
yeah.
it is fantastic.
Oh, it is.
There's really no better feeling. I get to play a place in Abbeville, South Carolina. Send a shout out to Abbeville. I love that little town.
It's a cool town, I agree.
I get to play the Abbeville Opry. And those folks, and it's going to sound like I'm, you know, shilling for them here, but I'll tell you that there's a wonderful town full of wonderful people, and I enjoy that. I've got to play there 3, 4, 5 times under different auspices, opening up for people, whatever. And the crowd at the Opry, they pay their money, they sit in a seat, and they listen to what you got to say.
And a musically intelligent crowd, right?
It does seem that way. They're
They're there to listen to the music.
They paid their money for the music.
Yep.
And boy, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, it does make all the difference in the world. Those places are scattered and few.
They are.
know?
It really is. I don't know. You could blame a whole lot of things. I kind of blame the internet. It's, you know, we could talk about that for the next 3 hours as to that. But music used to be more scarce. It used to be harder to, and you had to pay for it. I'm sure you remember the time that to hear your favorite song, often you had to buy the whole album.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Nobody has an idea what that
Right.
means anymore. Paying,
No.
you know,
No.
a lot of your money to hear one song.
One song in hopes that the rest of them are
okay.
Okay, yeah, and usually they weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
really, most acts, particularly like say on their first one, it's usually good because they've had kind of a lifetime to write that
Yeah,
stuff.
second-
It's the second or
sophomore
third one,
album.
yeah, exactly.
They're
It's
lucky if they have 1 or 2 good songs.
They do, they
and,
are.
And a lot of filler stuff.
Yep.
And now, if you like that song, music's kind of free now.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
and that's probably not a good thing. It's interesting, and it'll be fascinating watching humankind navigate through this, because music is a language that we're not going to get rid of. You're not going to do without music.
And it's a universal language too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So to wake up one day, I tell people about this. What if you had made a living selling, I don't know, apples?
Okay.
And everybody just loves a delicious red apple. And you had the best apples, and you had to come from a long way to get these great apples. You couldn't get them anywhere else. And you built your home and your business and your reputation as having these great apples, and everybody loved your apples and associated your name with it. And then one day you woke up and the whole world could push a button and get your apple for free.
Yeah.
It would really change your life.
It has.
There were days back, I would say Led Zeppelin again, bands like that had their own jet airplanes and flew around, and there were just huge stars. And now, because they sold units, they sold records.
They did.
And it was difficult to hear them.
True.
You had to pay money or go somewhere. Now you can pull it up on your phone.
Watch a concert.
You have
and
a
there we go.
device in your pocket that can listen to any song in the world.
And see you live perform.
Yeah.
I mean, they can see your latest show.
There used to be stories about Eddie Van Halen, who was in my humble opinion, was a groundbreaker. And,
Oh,
you
he
know,
was.
whether you play country music or whatever, Eddie Van Halen changed the
He
guitar
did.
playing scene. He would play in California at the Whiskey, the Go-Go, those rock clubs where formative bands were starting. He would turn his back so the crowd couldn't watch his hands
See
because
what
he
he was
wanted
doing.
to keep his secrets to himself. And now you can pull it up on your phone, and there's an 11-year-old girl on YouTube that can play anything Eddie Van Halen.
I agree.
It's great.
And you know,
We do it.
I spent my time dropping needles on records to figure out things.
I scratched up a lot of records
you
trying to
know,
figure stuff out myself.
Yeah, and now you can go on.
There's a junior high school guy that can teach you how to play it on YouTube.
Yeah, there is, and probably I probably figured out a lot of that stuff wrong, but he's got it figured out right. So you know, it's like,
Yeah, I'm the king of playing it wrong.
Yeah.
Get paid to play it wrong. That's quite an achievement.
yeah, I mean it is, you know, and you know you can tell the guys that had to figure it out on their own as opposed to the ones that learned it on YouTube. Though it don't take you very long if you're a musician playing with somebody to know who figured this stuff out, because I'll tell you why it is. So we say, then we go to play something where you have to improvise. Mm-hmm. You're good. You can go. This guy goes, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
Either
like,
you speak the language or you don't.
You don't,
know?
yeah, you do. I mean-
it's like somebody that learned to say some words in French but don't know what they mean.
Exactly.
You know,
and that's kind of the way a lot of these guys are these days. Oh yeah, I can't touch what he can do in a solo, but you know what? Pretty much in any key, I'm okay to play something.
Yeah.
I mean, how great, I don't know, but I can do it. Whereas a lot of guys just don't even, or they play the same exact lick
thing
on every song.
I teach and I have some students and and they're like, I got to learn that just like that. And I often tell them, you're listening to something live, you know that guy probably doesn't play it like that every time.
They never do.
He's not going to play it the same way. Oh yeah, he is. That's him playing it. I promise you. You know, if the guy had big steak dinner or too much fried chicken, he's not going to play it the same way.
No.
You know, it's just don't.
And if you played it, it's the way fiddle tunes always work. You play this song X number of times, then you want to do something different. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's repetition. You get tired of it.
Yeah.
One thing that advancing age is revealing to me is I learn things in different positions on the guitar because my hand hurts.
Yeah.
You know, and if I play a song early in the night or if I just woke up feeling good that day, I may do it a certain way on the guitar. And if I don't get around to it till later and I'm tired,
right,
I'll do it completely different because my daggum hand hurts.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you, at this age, are you to the point where you have to, okay, I did this song, let's just say, I did this song in A, 10 years ago, but now I've dropped it to G, I've dropped it to the step.
So this brings up a fascinating thing to talk about. And I swore I wasn't going to be really personal in this thing, although you did ask me up here to talk about myself. I just don't want to seem arrogantly going on about myself.
But you wouldn't be a musician.
I wouldn't be a musician.
Yeah.
Vocally, the thing that I've struggled to develop the most over the years is my voice and my singing ability. I've always been a second-rate singer I was actually a piano player. And that was my talent, and that was where I was shining bright enough to get a job. I was a good keyboard player. And my dream and my hope was to be a guitar player. And now, I'm not saying I'm a good guitar player, but I'm enough of a guitar player I can get a job anytime I want to playing guitar. But during the whole time, I never had the voice. I was always, I'm just not a lead singer. Well, here I sit in front of you. I've sang on 7 different albums. There's 100 recorded songs of me singing. I must be able to sing.
Right.
So I still don't count myself as a very accomplished vocalist, in the realm of really good singers. I'm not one of them. I'm a desperate singer who wants to get his point across.
Right.
The long-winded point I'm trying to make is about 4 years ago, and everything in my life is either 15 years ago or 4 years ago because I can't remember how long ago. So we'll just say 4 years ago. I had a stroke. And up at that time, singing in the key of D was top of my range. So if I did Midnight Rider, I do in D just by the Allman Brothers.
Right.
That's that. I think you hit an F sharp singing, and that was about the top of my range. I could sing the G just above it, but boy, I'm cracking to do it.
Right.
And there ain't no way I could hit that A above it. After I had a stroke, I can easily sing that A. What happened? I don't have a clue. I don't know. I am eternally grateful to God that I was blessed not to lose my hand.
Right.
Although my face is now crooked, but hell, I wasn't that good looking to start with. So I didn't lose much there. This doesn't work so good. I'm pointing to my mouth for you folks. Listen. I have a crooked mouth and my eye doesn't work. And I gained about 1.5 notes of top range singing.
That's kind of worth it. As a singer,
it's a little odd, isn't it?
Is.
I used to have so much trouble. Now, this is early, so I don't know. Some of the songs that, and I'm trying to think some of the things that I hit clearly, but I have gone and actually raised the pitch.
That's crazy.
When I do, I used to do How Great Thou Art and sing, and sings my soul, my Savior God. So now I'm doing D, Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. I bet I could sing it in E if I really tried, but I ain't going to try in front of y'all. So that's been the deal. What an odd thing to have happen to you.
I know 2 instances. We were talking about Brackett Cedar Park one time, and the guy who owned that had a stroke. And when he recovered, he talked the rest of his life with an Irish accent.
I've heard about that.
And then I interviewed a guy here, Kevin Street. I don't know if you know Kevin or not. Kevin,
I do know the name.
Kevin's a bluegrass singer and player, and Kevin said that he absolutely struggled and really stunk as a singer. And he was in a car accident where he went through the windshield, had a head injury. Now he's singing great.
It's no explaining any of it. And I don't even know if that's really the deal. Maybe I was just, I have no idea.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
A lot of things that when you get to a certain age, there's an age, and before that age, you're invincible, and you don't think about it.
True.
You do whatever you want to do. You might drink a little too much. You might do this, and then there's an age after it. You think about everything. You still do things you're not supposed to do. I eat way too much. I'm struggling with my diet, and it comes up in my physical abilities.
Sure.
I put on. There's a little stress in the life right now. Happiness. It is a state of being.
It is.
And we're building a house right now.
No.
And boy,
that's stress.
It seemed like we had some happiness before we started building this house that is hard to find now. And when I am under a little stress like that, I can't control my diet at all. I'm a big guy and I eat too much. And I love food. I'm Southern. I love Southern food, fried this, that, and the other. I love it, and I love to eat. And when I do, I put on that fat weight, and my hands go numb.
Oh, really?
And they are right now. It affects my guitar playing. So, you're fat. So I can still do the same things. I just can't do them as efficiently. I can do that. And see that little riff right there? That's tough when you're fat and your hand hurts. So that's why strings won't last me, because I'll use a heavy pick and I said, who do you love? Well, who do you love? Who do you love? See, I get tired or my hands hurt. When my hands, if I lose 20 pounds, which is very difficult, that's a lot better. You know what I mean? I'm a lot more precise. I'm not so all over the place, and I gotta come to grips with that.
Stress works you either eat or you quit eating.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I don't quit eating.
Well, I'm the same way. If I'm under stress, I eat.
I sure will. And we're at the very end of this house build. Yeah, I cannot recommend to anybody to build a house right now. The market is bizarre. Prices for materials are nuts.
Can you even get people to come do stuff?
It's very difficult. We've been blessed with every little step, but still, it's been very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. We're almost done, and we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Wow, this has been.
Now, I'm sure that's really stressful these days.
It is something else. So, got a recording studio, and we're building a new recording studio behind it. It's just whooping my tail.
Are you going in that studio, or are you going to just do your stuff, or are you going to make this a commercial?
I've had something called the Soul Shack Studio for about 8 or 9 years now. It's behind the house that we're getting rid of, and we built a new one, much better built. And what I've done in the studio world, I don't do the keep up with the Joneses thing because it's just too doggone expensive.
Yeah, well, it changes every minute.
So what I do is in the original music world, I love the act of recording. I love to study that stuff. It is a lot of fun, and as much as actually writing a song, I like recording it. So I've done that for some friends. I've done it for church, for students. I've recorded a lot for myself. Don't really make a living at it, or not even a chunk of my living at it. But I mean, there's been some money involved. I've spent hours and hours and hours, months on some people's stuff. But I'm not advertised as a for-profit recording studio.
Right.
But it is a viable, good. We got great equipment, great microphones, great abilities, and I'm very, very proud of the sound that we get. So when people call me, either I'm set up and able to help them, or I'm not, right. and it all depends, on what they want to do and when they want to get it done.
Now, do you have people? Say an individual comes to you at your studio. So do you? If he's just a singer,
we get a lot of that. In all genres of music too. We do all kinds of stuff. Song development. There's pianos, basses. I'm a piano player, and they're everything. So if someone comes to develop a song, one thing that is very difficult is putting a price and a value and a worth on it, because it's worth the whole world to somebody, but the time it takes to do it.
It's time.
It's not like making a hamburger where all the hamburgers are $1.50. You know what I mean? Well, here's you a $1.50 hamburger, and here's you a $1.50 hamburger. Your song may be completely different than the next guy's song.
Sure.
And so, which is why I don't want to be in the business of for-profit doing it, because you have no idea what to charge anybody and people say, well, just charge by the hour. It doesn't really work that way.
It doesn't really work that way. And it doesn't. Also, when you do that, you wind up, I'm not certain, because I've done it by the hour, you don't really know if you put too much pressure on the person that's doing it, because
you're talking about some creative. How do you tell if that hour, if 1 hour was as intense and as valuable as the other hour?
Say we take you and me. Okay, I go in there to record something my own. Even if I know it wonderfully, when I sit down in front of the mic to do this, it's going to take me 4 tries. You'll go in and do it 1. That's the bad thing about doing it by the hour. I'm thinking about that clock when I sit down. It's like tick, tick, tick,
Anything that's going to reflect in the final recorded performance, you just want to get that out of it. You want to get rid of the clock. You do. A clock on somebody. I have not seen that work. But in a business sense, if you were in business to make a living with a recording studio, you've got to live by the clock. Because time is money.
Yeah.
And
there would be no reason for session musicians if there was not a clock.
Right. And I've had people come in and dear friends, and doing music that I believed in very, very much, and said, well, however long it takes, we're going to get this right. Boy, what a statement to make. Really? I have eaten that statement for breakfast.
Right. I'm sure.
9 months later,
I do understand that. I do understand that. I mean, recording is a difficult process
It is wonderful, though. I really love it.
Oh,
I love, and the little bit that I've learned has shown me there is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But the stereo field and how to use compression and we could talk about that for a long time, but it is a lot of fun, and I love it. It takes a lot of time. It gets the stress of life right off of me. When I'm recording something, I'm not doing anything else.
Right.
And I like that. If I was able to put even more time into it, I would. The thing that I probably love more than recording is playing live when people are listening. Those Abbeville Opry gigs and stuff like that. I recognize I'm probably getting too old for that pretty fast. I can't travel, and you can't do great gigs in your backyard every weekend. It just doesn't work that way. You got to go somewhere to the beach or to I don't know, Nashville, wherever they do stuff. You got to go there.
Yeah.
Traveling is so difficult.
Oh, it's so hard. The older I get, the later times bother me.
Oh,
the farther
that's another
travel.
one, yeah.
Boy,
COVID come along and made all us musicians play from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Now none of us want to stay up past 9.
I mean, the one good thing I can say about craft breweries is you can go play them early and go home.
Go home, yeah. Who wants it? And then for my entire life, I've been a working musician. Most of the time when I was actually younger, I didn't even think of 11 o'clock as early.
I know.
We were on stage at 11, play to 1, and we play to 2. I can't imagine being out at 11 o'clock. I'm such an old man. Who in the world wants to be out at 11 o'clock? There's nothing for you out there at 11 o'clock.
People ask me, they say, how come you don't come out and see stuff? I said, unless they're paying me. 9 o'clock, I don't want to be out past 9 o'clock. I'm an old man,
There really ain't nothing out there, at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, So that is such an old man statement.
That is. I mean, we both just made that statement, It's like, and I know all these other guys that are out there playing stuff say, yeah, that's a bunch of old men right there.
Yeah, it really is. But it used to be different.
But South Carolina's not even as bad as it used to be. I mean, you played those jobs. I played those jobs 4 o'clock in the morning.
I did that in Florida a lot. We always knew when we were going to Florida, you're going to be playing late. You may see the sun coming up when you get off work. It was rough down there. They stayed up all night in Florida. I don't know why it was that way.
They kind of have in the past in South Carolina too.
Yeah, it's the old days.
Yeah. And you go home too, and I'd have beer spilled all over everything, and
it's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's totally different.
And then people don't smoke anymore.
No, they don't smoke.
And all your equipment stunk. I've never, and at my advanced age and growing up and living in bars my entire life, I've never smoked a cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm a non-smoker.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, probably still got black.
Yeah, probably.
But I never took a puff off a cigarette, and people that don't smoke have a lot of trouble with the smell of it.
They do.
And all my guitar cases, you open your guitar case and it smells like the dump.
Sure.
It's rough.
Well, that's another thing too. For years and years, I played in bands with everybody in there smoked. I did, and I was probably the only one. But now, I don't see as many smoking musicians as I used to.
Yeah, I used to tell them, well, all y'all gonna quit smoking sooner or later. I promise you. But they didn't like hearing that. But I think, and that's another big political, historic statement. How tobacco used to rule the South. And
sure, it
was
did.
A big money thing, and money makes the world go round.
It does.
So as people have wised up a little bit and quit smoking so much, for health reasons, the whole industry's changed.
Sure, it has.
I bet there's tobacco people on something though. They didn't just go hide. They get rid of that kind of money.
No. They've invested in other things.
Yeah, they've invested in other things. I guarantee.
I mean,
that's a good thing that stuff don't stink like.
Sure, it is.
Smoking.
Oh yeah.
I'm a non-smoker. I have a novel that I wrote, well, several of them, but one is published, you can get your hands on. I guess I can unabashedly plug my novel. If you go on to just the internet, however the internet works. Clearly, I don't know much about the internet. I'm sorry, I'm old, I don't get the internet. But you go on there and you put Jeff Gates, and you put Jeff Gates Into the Mystic. That's a song by Van Morrison. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll go ahead and say I wrote Van Morrison a very nice letter or email or something like that. And I told him I was going to use that and ask him for permission. And doggone, he never wrote me back.
No.
So
Hey,
I went ahead and did it anyway. So,
then-
man, if you're out there listening, I used your Into the Mystic stuff for the title of my book. Well, so did a bunch of other people. There's lots of books called Into the Mystic, but mine is a novel about it's about what happens when somebody gets cancer. The guy sitting beside me, his mom is my mom, and she passed away of cancer, and our grandmother died of cancer.
Sure.
We lost a lot of our family, and it's a kind of a unique story, and we're telling stories. I had a VCR tape, and it's one of the few actual videos of my mother when she was alive, and it was at my first wife's bridal shower some 35 years ago or more. I'm not good with time, but it was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And I was watching it to see my mother on video. I hadn't seen her she's been gone for a very long time. And I started to count the people in the room that I knew that passed away from cancer. It runs through our family quite rapidly. And I got to like 14 or 15 people, and I turned it off. I'm like, good heavens. The whole idea of how people process that and what would happen if you had been exposed to this, which I have, and you found out that you had it, and what's having an intimate knowledge of it, and seeing what things actually do, gave me the impetus to sit down and start writing a story, and it turned into a longer story, and it turned into a novel. So I wrote a book about a guy named Mark, and what happens to him and what he decides to do. And I don't know, I read it and I thought, well, this ain't a bad book. So I put it out there. And boy, we could sit and talk about the book industry for a while.
Sure,
if you think
we can.
The music
Oh,
industry is
yeah.
cutthroat, the book
It
industry
is.
rough. There's musicians have always been a rough lot to me. You know, it's just a wild, wild west.
Right.
People that stay up late and do all kind of crazy stuff. Boy, the book industry.
I agree totally.
It's tough out there.
I kind of started my career in that business, and
did you
it's
really? I was a latecomer to it, and I was really surprised at how rough the book industry really is.
they make music industry people look like nice guys, and that's hard to
really
do. And that's hard to do.
And so I put this book out there, and of course, one thing that I've always been is pretty stupid. And I was like, well, this is a good book. Everybody's gonna love this book. Well, everybody didn't love it. It takes you. It's hard to get noticed.
It is hard. It's
I
hard.
don't think I did it right. I didn't promote it correctly or whatever. But it still stands, and it's an achievement to actually write.
Sure,
a book.
yeah, I agree
it's
totally.
a whole different way of getting gratification than writing a song.
No.
I could have written a song on the way here, and I probably did write some little ditty thing. I'm always coming up with stuff, and I can sit there and play it, and immediately people either like it or they don't. But a book, I worked on a book for a year.
Yeah, I know.
And then after I worked on it for a year, it was several months before anybody got around to reading it that could hit me
Could
back.
help you
So
back,
it went
yeah.
over a year before I ever hear if the first person liked it
Sure.
or not. But, you know, a song, you can...
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have a big old time. You know,
Right.
and immediately somebody's like, well, I don't
I like that. Or I don't. That's not really
I don't
one of my
like that
favorites.
one.
You need to work on that.
Yeah, you
but
get it. You-
oh yeah, and that's authors are different than songwriters too. They're people that write.
It's a different
It's
mentality.
a different mentality, and they're more deeply disturbed, Jeff.
Well, I must be really disturbed because I'm a published author and a guy's written.
And so am I. So, I say that from a knowing point of view.
So at any rate, you can get that book. You can get a hard copy of it. You can put it on your Kindle. It ain't but a couple of bucks. And between me and the people listening, my wife gets really happy when she's got this little thingy on her phone. She handles all this
Right.
stuff. She's a super cool person that knows her stuff. So when anybody gets that book,
She gets excited.
texts me and gets excited. Somebody bought the book. Somebody bought the book. So it's
I just had a guy on the podcast who wrote about his time with David Allan Coe.
Oh, really?
And he's got a book out about it, and he's out touring it around a little bit. And he was saying that, basically he was saying that working with David Allan Coe was hard, but not like working with music. I mean, with book publishers.
Book publishers are something, and I'm no offense to anybody in the publishing industry. It's just that the business, once you've been in the music business and seen all the things that people, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and you're like, well, it really is that way. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And then to get into publishing thing and go, wow, just a little story, and I don't want to harp on the publishing business too much because I'm sure they're nice people. But I got on the phone with some of them people, and they were talking just complete baloney that they were telling me about my book, wanting me to mortgage my house.
Oh,
and
sure,
send them
yeah,
30 grand.
yeah.
I said, boy, you got the wrong guy. I've been in the music business for 40 years. You ain't got a prayer scamming me, buddy. And I thought about all the little old ladies and people shut in the house that maybe have some infirmity and can't work anymore, and wrote a book because they had a lot of time. And I can imagine that they have really taken advantage of those kind of people.
Yeah.
But you can't get me. I've been in the bar business for 50 years,
And, there's record companies that do that for people all the time. I got a song,
that too,
and they're even worse than those guys.
Makes me very thankful for the upbringing I had. I have been amazingly fortunate to be around the musicians. Most of my playing ability is just desperation to keep up with the people that I was fortunate enough to meet. It ain't really a bunch of talent.
But that's how you get better. I mean, I will always tell people this, particularly people starting out: surround yourself with people better than you. Because if you don't, you won't get better.
My son's in this business. I hope he goes much further than I ever did. But his name's Stevie Ray Gates, and he's a great guitar player, great singer. And I tell him, man, just go everywhere and find people that absolutely you're positive are better than you. And it ain't too hard to find them. There's
no, that's true.
In every music store here in the interstate, there's 10 great musicians.
There are.
So just go find them. He's doing pretty well.
That's good.
It's a different atmosphere than it was when I was young.
Sure.
But he's doing very well. I'm very proud of him.
That's good. So you have a band these days of your own.
I've had a band.
I know you have, but I mean, I guess you've gone through numerous versions of it too over the years, hadn't you?
I've been pretty blessed with people that have stuck with me. I'm stuck with them. Scotty Thomas has played drums with me.
Scotty Thomas,
Scotty?
drummer. He's a fine drummer.
He's a good guy. Scotty. So me and Scotty were playing together when my oldest daughter was born. She's in her early 30s. And Scotty's her godfather, and we played the night she was born. So me and Scotty's been playing together at least 35, 40 years.
That works good.
Art Mooney's been playing bass with me for, I'm going to say around 10 years.
Yeah.
Art, I'm sorry, I can't put an actual date on. But I love Art so much, and it seems like he's been with me forever. I was very privileged to play with Bo Beatty on the bass, and if I leave anybody out, there's been fantastic people.
That's good.
Come through. Grubb, Jimmy Thornburg on the keyboards, and Tad Huff's played with me some on the keyboards. There's just all kinds of people. I'm a hog on the guitar. I overplay, so it's hard for another guitar player to actually play with me and get a note in edgewise. And then here comes my son, Stevie, and he seems to kind of dominate the situation. I just let him get out there and do what he wants to do. So maybe that's a lesson God has tried to teach me.
Maybe it is.
To share a little bit. But we were always... And a big reason why the Jeff Gates Band, which I always call it that because of lack of creativity in coming up with a band name, and the truth is, I called it the Jeff Gates Band because I didn't know who was going to show up for work.
Sure.
So if you're, the Flitters or the Bird Feathers, and you show up and play the gig as the Bird Feathers, and the next week you come back with a different bass player, and the club owner goes, "That ain't the Bird Feathers."
Right.
But
it's still Jeff.
Actually do that to
I
you.
know,
They don't
they
want to pay
will.
you, and they don't want to mess with you. But if
Right.
you go in and say, "This is Jeff Gates Band, I'm Jeff Gates,"
Right.
you can come in with cardboard cutouts the next
True.
week. It's still the Jeff Gates Band,
Yeah.
buddy. You got to pay me.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. It's not an arrogant reason. It's just that I was the guy.
Well, and also probably in all likelihood, it's how it always worked several times for me. You also had the equipment, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got the sound equipment, so.
Well, somebody's got to do.
And you're pretty much the front man, and have been.
For better or for worse,
Yeah.
and sometimes I assure you it was for worse. But yeah, I've been the front guy too. that's another thing. When you do it and you're feeding children, and I have a lot of those, you got to be sure that you can pull the gig off.
Right.
And if the guy singing the majority of material doesn't show up, there's no gig there.
Right, there's no gig.
So I got to be that guy because I know I'm going to be there. If the guy that plays the chords behind the singer, if it's a piano player, he's got to be there.
Right.
But if it's a guitar player, well, I'm that guy too.
Right.
So basically, if nobody shows up,
You can still do the
Gates
gig.
is going to do the gig.
Yeah.
And that's actually happened.
Yeah.
I've had times when other
Sure.
members couldn't make it.
Right.
And it's still a show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a
Yeah,
show.
and that's a good thing.
It is. It's a
And
necessary thing.
it's a self-preservation type thing.
That's exactly what it is.
Particularly
Survival.
Survival, particularly when you're in the music business. I mean, it's and that's another thing that people don't really realize too. You kind of have to step around some stuff that might even offend you some or make you mad because you need to work. And
there's always compromise.
It's just like playing
It
covers.
seems like back in the day there wasn't so much politics and
there
everything.
wasn't.
It was a little different.
It was.
There was always judgment and a moral judgment. There's a segment of the population that thought, well, you shouldn't be out there drinking
Right.
and selling.
Yeah.
People partying and liquoring and all that kind of business. And morally, I am a Christian, and I've struggled with that my whole life. Is this what I need to be doing? But I'm a musician. I don't do anything else
Right.
all that well. Surely, God wanted me to do this.
Well, I
He
mean,
didn't tell me not to.
It's been in every musicians and we'll call them jesters or entertainment has been a part of mankind since the beginning of mankind.
So politics has come raging into it in the past 7 to 10
Oh
years.
yeah,
There are band members that can't get along. no
yeah.
more.
Oh, there is.
Isn't
I
that
agree.
odd that it should come down with that kind of force to drive a wedge? Used to be, color didn't matter,
It
skin
didn't.
color, nothing mattered. If you're a musician and you can play and express yourself, and as far as somebody's, we were always on the cutting edge of society.
Yeah.
If you were a little avant-garde and
Yeah.
you're progressive, whatever
Right.
you were, it didn't matter.
It didn't
if
matter.
You were a musician.
I
But
agree.
now, you come in and.
Oh,
One
yeah.
guy believes you have the right to bear a firearm,
Right.
the next guy doesn't.
Right.
They don't want to play with you.
Exactly. And yeah, whereas before I would tell you that musicians, as opposed to probably anybody, any group of people in the world, do not care anything about. Did not used to care about your politics, your religion, your sexual preference. If you could play,
It didn't matter.
it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's different now. You're right.
Boy, it
And I'm
really,
glad we talked about
the whole
this.
Society's gotten judgmental of each other in a bad way. And
You're the first person to come in to address that too.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but everybody knows it that's working these days. Just know that's just
There are some fantastic musicians. I'll go ahead and say, well, here's a great case in point, and maybe you guys can listen to this and pick something up from it. I am a conservative person. I am. I don't look like it. I got a ponytail and an earring in my ear, but actually that's a wedding band in my ear.
Okay,
we'll
that'll
talk about that another
Yeah,
time.
we'll talk about that, yeah.
It looks like an earring. I am I'm crazy about Jesus Christ. I'm definitely a Christian. I'm a big time sinner, but hey, got news, all y'all are too, every one of us. Art Mooney does not share my political views, and that's all I'll say because he may not want me saying what he does or does not believe. And if you want to know, he'll tell you. Just
yeah, he
ask
will.
him.
He will.
But he does not.
Or ask me.
Art does not share mine, and he is one of the best friends I ever had in my life. I absolutely love him, and we get along fabulously. We ride to the gigs together, and we talk. We have great conversation, and he is polar opposite politically from me, and we have no trouble getting along together. Why can't everybody be that way? And there are some musicians. I'm trying really hard not to say who it is or what, but there are some musicians that don't agree with me politically and won't play with me because of it. That they want nothing to do with me. I respect that. I don't understand it.
Right.
And I got evidence that it doesn't have to be that way. Because me and Art get along great together. You know, and I don't feel that way. You know, you believe what you want to believe.
Well,
it's your business.
Also, who cares once the music? Who cares once we start playing?
In music, you know. I mean, if you want to talk about that stuff, I'll tell you my position. Sure. But if you want to just play music, we can do that too.
Sure.
And if you want to just ride down the road like me and Art and eat a donut and laugh about it, we can do that too. Sure. You don't have to worry about, you know. So, but you know, I'm a Second Amendment guy. I'm not afraid to say it. And some people just don't like that. I wasn't real crazy from the start about the COVID stuff. I didn't agree with mandate stuff and stuff like that. I don't mind saying it. That's going to turn some people off.
Sure.
But it's just a fact. And the people that were very mandate oriented didn't like that, and they thought that I was out to hurt somebody or just didn't care. And I assure you I care. I care very much. So I don't want to get too political and have everybody get the wrong idea about me. But those were the kind of things that came between me and some of my dear friends, people I respect.
Well,
very much.
it did in society too. Well, I mean, it did among family members.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean,
I live with that too.
Yeah.
Especially the I was going to say in-law family. I better be careful with
They might listen.
Just, you know, there's disagreement out there.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be that way. I think maybe it'll come back around. I think the reveal that the internet gives on who people are, all of a sudden things that you kept on the back shelf.
Right.
It's really easy to find out about one another.
Right.
So if you're not ready for a bright light to be shined on who you are and what you are, the internet is gonna do that. You got to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about that when I sat down. Hey man, I don't want to talk about this because people get the wrong idea.
Right.
And boy, that's one thing the internet can do. It can give you all kinds of facts. But it can give you all kinds of stuff that ain't facts too.
And not only that, you make a video, it come back to haunt you. I'm living proof of that. So,
stuff you say and stuff you do definitely
come back.
Stays forever
on the internet. Once you've done it, it's there.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
So be careful. Yeah, you have to be careful these days. So, yeah.
Let's see. We probably need to play a song. We got a little time here.
We got time, yeah.
I guess I should talk a little bit about music itself. I love playing guitar. I wish I was a better guitar player. I don't know if I got time in my life left to be a really, really good guitar player. I'm working on it.
If you ever start to thinking you've got it down pat,
you're at the end of it. My hope, I feel like that I had it in me to write either a really good novel, the one that's about, I've got 2 or 3 of them. I'm funny about what I say, and I know it's a character flaw, but I don't want to be misunderstood. And I've written 2 other novels, and both of them, I just don't know if I'm ready to let people read kind of dark stuff that I'm capable of writing. Maybe that'll change when I get older, but they're about, it's no worse than an R-rated movie, but the other books are not as uplifting as the one that said. The one that's out there would make a Hallmark movie of the week. It's really nice. And I teach people's kids, and I come across like a big rough guy, but I'm not. A big teddy bear that teaches little girls how to play piano, and I love that. So I have songs left in me and books left in me to write. I've recorded 60, 70 of my songs. Some of them I'm happy with, and some of them I'm really not. I believe that no matter how profound a person may be and how wise they are, if you listen to them talk all week long, they're going to say a lot of stupid crap.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter how good a songwriter you are, if you listen to every song the guy's ever written, a whole bunch of it is just terrible. And then with me, I love recording so much that everything I write, I end up recording. There's a lot of recorded stuff that by me that's awful.
I mean,
so
I go through my catalog a lot, and I'm thinking, I thought that was a good song.
Yeah.
At the time I wrote it, I thought it was, but then it's
horrible.
like, oh, it's horrible.
So I've got a little bit left in me. I'm building this house. I'm advancing in my years here. I don't want to travel. I don't want to stay up late. But boy, I want to write some more better songs. I like stories. Clearly, I tell a lot of stories and talk about stuff. I like songs that tell stories. I like riffs and hooks. I did this. Listen, this riff came to me a long time. And I think it's one of the best songs I wrote. And that's a real 80s sounding song. So many years ago, how could we even know we were so young? We were so young. I can't even remember the hook to it now. Whatever. But that little riff is in there. I've got songs like that I really want to write. I want to do another album. Putting the studio together. It's my hope that within the next year I've got an album of songs out. I've got a lot of pieces of songs I've written, and I need to put them together. Once in a while, in a blue moon, a whole song, that song came to me all at one time. That song's called When You Lay Me Down, which is kind of a 80s sound, but it ain't what you think.
Sounds almost
It's about
to
going
me.
through life, and at the end of life, I do that too much too. I write books and songs about when life's over. It's kind of dark, but I don't mean it that way. This and the one I brought in to make sure. Oh shoot, my wife even printed the words out.
That's sweet of her. I need mine to do that sometimes.
So this song right here, I think of this as probably one of the best songs I ever wrote, and that's hard for me to say because I'm rough on my own stuff. I worry too much. Think about things too much, and I was laying in the bed trying to sleep. I don't sleep that well anymore either. I used to, excuse me, I used to sleep a lot because I was out playing music all the time. Musicians didn't sleep all day.
All right.
And so do teenagers. No offense. I have a lot of those. I have 7 children. I was laying there trying to get a good night's sleep, and it was, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning, and my wife owns a recording studio. I don't own nothing. So I dreamed that I died, and at the time, Stevie Ray, I've got Matthew, Stevie Ray, and JoJo are all 1 year apart. And they were in high school, and Steve was about to graduate. So it was going to be Steve, Matthew, Joe graduating, just like that. And Ricky had just graduated like the year before. And I dreamed that I was not able to see them graduate or get a wife and a job and all the things, go to college. And so I was talking to God about it. I died, and I said, can you cut me a little deal and just let me see them get out of school? And I just that's all I want. You know, it ain't for me. I just want to see them okay. I want to see them go to school. I want to see them get a job. Right. God, could you let me be an angel? And maybe I could, watch over. Right. And I woke up and I said, maybe I'll become an angel and I'll get to see him. And I run out to the studio and hit the recorder. And we're talking about early in the morning. Right. And I played a F and a C, and that's about as simple as you can. I said, maybe I'll become an angel when all my earthly work is through. I hope I become an angel so I can keep watch over you. I've always lived a hard life. I've done my running round. I knew weren't mine. And I put people in the ground. They say that there's forgiveness for even men who live like me. And as I step into this last fight, God's grace is all I need. Well, maybe I'll become an angel when all my earthly work is through. Maybe I'll become an angel so I can keep watch over you. And when I saw the darkest night, still it bore a shining star. And if I could get myself back upright, I know I'll wonder where you are. You're all the hope this bad life's shown to me. You're every good thing that I knew. Well, I deserve whatever comes to me, but I can't bear not seeing you. Well, maybe I'll become an angel when all these earthly bonds are loosed. I hope I become an angel so I can keep watch over you. There's a really nice video of this song. It's got pictures of all the family in it. My wife did it. She does all the videos. She's really cool at that. She's a computer expert. She plays down her role, but she actually runs the entire company called Nestle. That's a joke. I know you don't run Nestle, but she does do computer stuff. She's really, really good at it. So when I do little stuff like this, she can turn it into a watchable video.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I wrote that song in the amount of time it takes to play it. I wrote it.
Wow.
And because I don't know why, but because that's what I was thinking about.
You know, sometimes they're gifts. They're just gifts.
Yep.
You know. All right.
Speaking of that, I gotta teach today. Today's a teaching day. I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays and some on Saturdays, so I can't stay much longer. But anything.
Jeff, I appreciate you coming by, man. This was a real pleasure.
Yeah, for me too. I like to talk about stuff and laugh about stuff.
It was pretty easy. You know, you were a very entertaining guest.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.